If you're a man over 60, I want to say something bold, maybe even surprising. Your problems in the bedroom, your weak circulation, your low energy and confidence as a man, they're not the result of aging. They come from something more serious. Inflammation that quietly damages your blood vessels, your testosterone, and your manhood. And here's the surprising part. Healing can begin with 3 simple ingredients likely already in your kitchen: turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon. My name is Dr. Edward Moore. I'm a board-certified men's health expert, professor at a top medical college, and I've spent more than 30 years helping aging men regain their vitality naturally without dangerous drugs or invasive methods. But what shaped my approach wasn't a degree. It was a goat. Yes, a goat. Years ago, I watched one wander through hedges, picking plants one by one, only choosing herbs with healing qualities. She didn't need directions. She trusted her instincts. And I wondered, what if we did the same? That's the contradiction. We've been told to fear getting older, but your body still remembers how to repair. It only needs the right ingredients. And these 3 herbs could be the key you've been missing. In this video, I'll show you how turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon can support circulation, protect your testosterone, and restore your manhood naturally. And toward the end, I'll explain how to mix all 3 into one simple daily drink so you can notice changes in just a few days. Before we begin, make sure to click subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a health tip made for men over 60. And if this message feels right for you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 so I can better meet your needs in the future. Now, before we go into turmeric, ginger, or cinnamon, I want to bring you back to a moment that completely shifted how I understand healing. It didn't happen in a hospital. It happened in a peaceful field with a goat named Emily, and what she showed me about the body's built-in wisdom may be the key to unlocking your power as a man, no matter how old you are. Before we get into the research, let me tell you something personal, something that forever changed how I see medicine. Years ago, I visited a small herb farm during a research trip, the kind of place where nature still speaks louder than machines. That's where I met Emily. She wasn't like most goats. She had her own pace, her own pattern, and as I later noticed, a kind of inner knowledge that was hard to put into words. Every day, Emily was taken out to graze along the hedge, but instead of eating everything like other animals, she was careful. She would sniff, stop, examine, and only choose specific leaves. She passed by others without interest. I got curious and began to observe her closely. What I saw left me speechless. Emily was picking out medicinal herbs plants known for reducing inflammation, helping digestion, and supporting recovery. No one trained her. There were no guides, just her instincts. And then it struck me. Her body knew exactly what it needed. It understood how to recover, how to rebalance, and it knew what tools would help. That single moment changed how I thought about healing. We once had that same natural connection with plants and remedies. Over time, we drifted away from it, but it's not lost forever. In my decades of helping older men regain strength, I've seen time and again that when we return to nature with consistency, healing begins again. So today, I want you to think like Emily. Believe that your body still remembers how to restore. It just needs the right herbs, steady support, and a little patience. Which brings us to the first healing herba root known as gold. For your artery sand, it might challenge everything you thought you knew about aging. I'll never forget the expression on Robert's face. He was 63, a retired firefighter, sitting across from me asking something I've heard far too often. "Doc, is this just what I have to get used to now?" His voice trembled slightly. He was talking about his stamina, his drive, his manhood gradually slipping away. And he was scared it would never return. What I told him then, and what I want to tell you now, is this. What's happening after 60 isn't just about age. It's poor circulation. It's inflammation stiffening the arteries that once delivered blood freely to your brain, your muscles, and yes, your manhood. When those vessels tighten, when nitric oxide levels fall, when testosterone signals weaken, your performance takes a hit, not just in intimacy, but in everyday life. You feel colder, slower, less motivated, less alive. But this goes beyond the physical, because when blood stops reaching the places it matters most, many men stop feeling like themselves. I understand that. I've seen it in countless patients, and I've lived through moments like that myself. But the truth is this isn't the end of your story. Your arteries aren't fixed in place. They can become flexible again. They can reopen, and your body, especially yours, is capable of more than you've been led to believe. You don't need medication to feel like yourself again. What you need is a reboot, a daily natural rhythm that restores blood flow, starting with a powerful root that has lasted through generations. This root was once carried by warriors into battle, and now modern studies show it can clear arteries and awaken your inner strength. Let's take a look at turmeric. If there's one herb I believe every man over 60 should use every day, it's turmeric. It's not only because it's ancient, and not just because it's golden, but because I've seen what it can do, again and again, in men who believed they were past saving. One of my patients, Sam, arrived feeling mentally and physically drained. His cholesterol numbers were climbing. His blood pressure was getting worse. His intimacy had gone quiet. He told me, "I feel like there's a slow leak in my body, and I can't tell where it's coming from." What he didn't know was that the leak was inflammation low level, steady, and spreading silently through his arteries. Turmeric contains curcumin, a strong anti-inflammatory agent that not only brings swelling down, but also supports the repair of your artery lining. That inner lining, the endothelium, is where nitric oxide is made, and nitric oxide is what tells blood where to go, especially during intimate moments. When inflammation rises, that whole system falls apart, circulation weakens, erections lose their strength, energy fades, testosterone output slows down. But when curcumin is introduced, it starts to calm that fire inside. It clears space again. It gives nitric oxide a chance to do its job. It even helps your testicles respond better to LH, the hormone that signals your body to make testosterone. Sam began using turmeric daily, just half a teaspoon stirred into warm water with a little black pepper. Within a few weeks, he told me he felt lighter, his joints moved better, his mornings had more brightness, and yes, his intimacy came back with confidence and warmth. Turmeric isn't instant, but it works at a deep level. And when you stay consistent, it helps your body reconnect with its strength. Now think about this: what if that healing circulation could reach even deeper into the tiniest, most sensitive blood vessels? There's a specific root that does just that, and its strength is found in the heat it delivers. Let's talk about ginger. There's a kind of heat the body doesn't forget, not just warmth, but energy blood flow that returns to the hands, the feet, and yes, the deepest areas of your manhood. That's the power of ginger. And for many men I've worked with, this one simple root has transformed how they feel in both body and mind. When I think of ginger, I think of Jim. He was 71, widowed, soft-spoken, and said very little at our first meeting. But he told me he missed feeling alive, and not only in a sexual way, but emotionally too. "I don't feel anything anymore," he said. "Even when I want to." I understood exactly what he meant. For many older men, it's not just about performance. It's about connection, feeling, and presence. Ginger works in two ways. First, it improves circulation, especially in the tiniest blood vessels, the ones that reach your fingertips, your brain, and your erection. It acts as a vasodilator, widening those tight channels and letting blood return to the places that had been ignored. Second, ginger activates the nervous system. It increases sensation. It boosts dopamine and serotonin, those key brain chemicals responsible for desire, drive, and emotional response. Jim started drinking a cup of fresh ginger tea every morning. In just 2 weeks, he said something that stayed with me. "I don't feel flat anymore." It was a small change, but one that meant everything. Because when blood flows again and nerves come back to life, your body remembers joy. That's not just metaphor, it's physiology, and ginger helps bring that back. Now, imagine combining that blood flow and nerve support with hormonal balance and stable blood sugar. What if the next step in restoring your strength wasn't just about warmth, but about bringing everything into alignment? There's a familiar sweet spice that can do exactly that, and most men have no idea how effective it really is. Let's turn to cinnamon. There's a deep comfort in cinnamon, the scent, the warmth, the way it lingers softly. But behind that comfort is a kind of strength most men miss, especially when it comes to energy. hormones, and function. One of my patients, Thomas, age 66, was diabetic and constantly drained. He told me, "I wake up in a fog. I crash after lunch." By nightfall, he had nothing left, not for his wife and not for himself. That struck a nerve because I knew what was happening. His blood sugar had taken over. When your glucose levels rise and fall unpredictably, your body is thrown into chaos. It inflames your arteries, dulls your nerves, lowers testosterone, and saps your drive. Over time, it robs you of both physical and emotional sensitivity. That's exactly where cinnamon fits in, especially real Ceylon cinnamon, not the common cassia kind. Ceylon cinnamon helps even out blood sugar, lowers insulin resistance, and protects the cells that help create your hormones. It doesn't just steady your energy, it supports the entire foundation of your masculinity. When Thomas began using cinnamon daily, just half a teaspoon stirred into his morning oatmeal or coffee, started to feel small shifts. His energy stayed steady, his thinking cleared, and gradually, his body began to respond. His touch carried meaning again, and, for the first time in a while, hers did too. Cinnamon may appear simple, but its impact runs deep. It restores balance and rhythm to the body, and when your glucose, hormones, and nervous system align, performance isn't forced. It comes naturally. It comes back. But what if we stop using these herbs on their own and, instead, bring them together as one intentional, daily practice? That's when transformation begins. Let me walk you through what happens when turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon come together. You've now seen what each of these spices can do individually. But here's the exciting part. When you blend them, something more happens. I've witnessed this over and over again. The result isn't just a combination, it's a synergy. They support one another like lifelong allies. Turmeric cools inflammation. Ginger brings warmth and circulation to areas that have gone cold, while cinnamon helps restore balance when the system has drifted out of sync. Together, they impact nearly every part of a man's body: blood vessels, nerves, hormones, and even mood. I began calling it the golden circulation shot. And no, it's not a high-priced supplement or some fancy powder. It's simply 3 kitchen spices, prepared correctly, and taken daily with purpose. A small drink in the morning or before bed that tells your body, "I'm paying attention. I still want to heal." Men who stick with it don't just report better blood flow. They talk about clearer thinking, warm hands and feet, energy in the morning that stays strong through the day. And yes, intimacy returns, not forced, but natural. That small flame they thought had gone out begins to flicker again. You don't need to change your whole life. You don't need to become someone different. You only need to support the man you already are with, tools your body already knows. And here's something else. I didn't come up with this in a lab. I learned it from men like you, men who gave nature another chance. One of those men was Henry. His story still stays with me. What happened in just 3 weeks was nothing short of incredible. I remember our first meeting clearly. Henry, 68 years old, retired engineer, polite and soft-spoken, with a trace of embarrassment, just sitting in front of me. He looked straight at me and said, "Doc, I love my wife, but it's been nearly a year. I don't feel anything anymore, not even the desire. I miss that part of myself." That level of honesty takes real strength. I admired him for it. He wasn't looking for a prescription. He didn't want side effects. He just wanted to know if there was still a way to feel like himself again. I walked him through the exact same process I've shared here. Turmeric to ease inflammation and support testosterone. Ginger to improve circulation and revive nerve function. Cinnamon to balance blood sugar and hormones. I showed him how to make the golden circulation shot every morning. And I told him something I tell every man: consistency matters more than intensity. Give your body a steady signal and let it remember how to answer. 3 weeks later, Henry came back. As soon as he sat down, he smiled. "My hands and feet aren't cold anymore," he said, "and I woke up with morning wood for the first time in over a year. I didn't expect it. It just happened." That moment meant more than any lab result. It meant his body was still working, that his hope wasn't misplaced. And that's what I want you to take from this. You're not broken. You're not too late. Your body is listening, and it's ready to come back online. Before you begin this journey for yourself, there are a few important things you should understand. Because even though this is a natural approach, it carries real strength. And there are essential safety tips you need to be aware of. Let's go over them together. Before you grab your spices and start mixing, I want to speak not just as a doctor, but as someone who truly cares about your health and healing process. Natural doesn't mean casual. These herbs are gentle, yes, but they're effective. And anything that works must be used with respect. If you're currently on blood thinners like warfarin or aspirin, it's essential to speak with your doctor before adding turmeric or ginger daily. Both have blood-thinning properties and can intensify your medication's effect. This doesn't mean you can't use them, just that your physician needs to be aware. If you've had gallstones or issues with your gallbladder, turmeric could cause discomfort in some situations. Start with a very small dose and see how your body reacts. When using cinnamon, always choose Ceylon cinnamon, not the more common cassia type. Cassia contains compounds that can be harder on the liver when taken every day over long periods. Start small. Usually, half a teaspoon of each spice is enough. Mix them with warm water or tea. Sip slowly, and most importantly, stay consistent. Your body doesn't need to be overwhelmed. It needs a signal, a regular, dependable rhythm that says, "I'm here. I want to get better." And finally, be patient. This is not a quick fix. It's a change in direction, a return to something your body already understands how to do, once it has the right tools and time. Now, if you followed along this far, I want to offer something that brings the whole message together, because this path isn't just about blood flow or testosterone or confidence in the bedroom. It's about something more. In this final message, I want to speak directly to your heart and remind you why recovery is possible, no matter how old you are. If there's one truth I hope you carry from this message, it's this: your body hasn't stopped listening to you. It hasn't lost its ability, and with the right kind of support, it can still remember how to heal. We started with a story about a Goethe lesson that nature knows what to do, even without instructions. Then, we looked at what's really behind decline after 60, not just age, but inflammation, reduced circulation, and disrupted hormones. We explored turmeric to calm the internal fire, ginger to reawaken blood flow, cinnamon to help restore the body's balance. And when you bring all three together, something extraordinary takes place, not only physically, but emotionally too. I've seen it happen for Henry, for Thomas, for Jamond, many others who found their power again using nothing but the wisdom in their own kitchen. You don't have to keep chasing pills. You don't need to become anyone else. You only need to begin with small consistency, quiet curiosity, and trust in the process. Healing doesn't come from a pill bottle. It begins in your habits, in your daily rhythm, and in your belief that your best years are not gone. They may be sitting right there in your spice rack, waiting to come alive again. And if you're ready, your body is too.